when I said these videos have to do well for me to do a Blue Dester video, you guys took this way too seriously, and I have 2 Blue Dester videos in the span of 2 weeks that already hit more than 500 views. So, okay, you win. You get your third one. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. here. Today we are back to cover Blue Desters again. This will be the last time I do Blue Desters. I don't care how this one does. I'm sorry. This is the last time. I cannot keep paying over 3,000 yen for this support. Okay, the answer is no. I'm not doing this a 4th time. So, as usual, I'm not the only one who has to share the pain of paying for this deck. We have Fader 4.
Just put to pass, bro.
Okay, so today we are covering Avantgarda again for set 10. It's a good deck. You know, it is a good deck. It is a deck that has significantly gotten better with set 10. With the set 9 promo, it went up by a lot. And I mean a lot. But now it's just straight up much better because you have actual designated support. I think I said this before at the start of my set 9 video, or at least at the end of my first set 9 video, and that is that, you know, eventually Avantgarda is going to get its own dedicated support, and that's going to make this shit so much cheaper, but also so much more OP. And sadly, I was only proven for the OP part. Cheap? No. But yeah, let's actually cover Avantgarda in its entirety, especially with his new pilot friend, Hanada
Hathaway.
I'm withdrawing from making any Gundam jokes today. So.
John.
Yeah, you covered it right now.
John. Yeah, the starter is Blue Dester Solar Period.
Yes. Don't Soul Blast the starter.
Yes, those are starter. Then we have, if I'm not wrong, this is the grade 1 of the right line. So the grade 1 of the right line skill is that when he's rolled upon by the grade by this is a Findanis. Yes, this is Findanis. So his all of them are Blue Desters, by the way. It's gonna be important for later.
Yeah.
So Findanis skill is that when he's rolled upon by the grade 2 of the right line, you search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 strategy card and you add it into your hand. And if you cannot add it into your hand, you call it out from the soul. So basically it's Forerunner. So basically no matter what happens, you will +1 from this right line.
Yep.
And it's generally a very strong right line because, as you know, Brandt Gate whole entire gimmick is about searching orders. So, and that is what the grade 2 of the right line does as well, because when he's rolled upon by Avantgarda Vanguard, you search your deck for a grade 2 strategy card and you add it to your hand and you shuffle your deck. And if you cannot add it, you get to call into a regular circle. So he's good just to beat, and also he's a Blue Dester, which is very important for later on. And generally all the strategy cards are very important for the playstyle, which we'll get into later. Cause Avantgarda, the big boss robot of this deck, has only 1 skill.
Yep.
I had to clarify this to some people at WGP, but he only has 1 skill, which is that act once per turn, you choose a strategy card from your order zone, and you choose a strategy card from your order zone, you put it in your soul, and you draw 1 card, and Avantgarda gains 5k.
Yes.
And the following rate tax, which is that once per turn, at the end of the battle at the end of his attack, no, at the end of his battle,
yes,
if this attack hit, or if you have personal reader this turn, counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand to stand him.
Yep.
And he loses 1 drive check. So it's a very, very simplistic Vanguard withstand deck. All the complexity of this deck counts with the orders that you play and the decisions that you have to make with the orders. So that is the long and short of Avantgarda. Basically is an Overlord clone, but he does have quite a lot of nuance to him that I think that Overlord in this format doesn't have, in just the orders and just the way that Brandt Gate plays in general. So moving on from the right line, we will now go into the strategy cards.
Yeah, we have to cover the strategy orders.
Yes. So we have strategy order. We have 1 copy of strategy order Assassination Mission.
Yes.
Then we have 2 copies of strategy order Bombing Run, and we have strategy order Death Winds.
Yes.
So the grade 1 assassination order, the grade 1 strategy order assassination mission, skill is very simple. You put it into the soul. When it's put from the order zone into the soul, your Vanguard gains 5k, and you choose one of your opponent's rearguards to retire it. So, like we said in the first video, control is not the biggest plus in this deck can get. So generally that's why we only play 1, and it's not a huge deal if this goes to damage or goes to your hand, things like that. You can even use it for right deck discard if you really feel so heavily about it.
You shouldn't, but I mean you could.
Next we go into the actually good ones, which is the grade 2 strategy order, which is the Bombing Run. So the Bombing Run skill is that when it's put from the order zone into the soul, you give your Vanguard 10k, and your Vanguard's attack cannot be your opponent cannot intercept your Vanguard's for your Vanguard's attack. And they also cannot use Blitz orders to guard your Vanguard's attack. So no Elemental Sanctitude, no Lutetia Blitz order, no Bruce Blitz order, things like that.
Bruce Blitz order?
Yeah, it's Blitz order.
Oh.
Yeah. So generally, it's just really good if you know your opponent's hand beforehand. They know that their only perfect guard is the Sanctitude.
Oh yeah,
This
screws them up.
Yeah, this screws them up completely. So it's very good, and that's why we are playing 2 copies, because we do have multiple ways to search it out besides the right line.
Yeah.
But of course, the main power play of this deck is using
Death
which is the strategy order Death Winds. So Death Winds basically gives mini personal right to your Vanguard. Is when it's put on the order zone to your soul, you give your Vanguard the following rate text, is that every time your Vanguard attacks, it's a restanding Vanguard deck.
Yep.
All your front row units gain 5k. So if you do this during a personal right turn, you guarantee your whole front row gains 20k. Yeah, so
includes Avantgarde, by the way.
yeah, so it's very, very difficult for your opponent to guard using this combination of Avantgarde plus Death Winds.
Yeah.
And that's basically all the strategy orders. So the rest of the deck is just here to supplement the strategy orders as well as to supplement Avantgarde's play style of persona riding and getting very, very big numbers.
Yep. Our grade 3s, we're going to start off with 4 copies of Avantgarda, 1 in the right deck, and then 2 copies of our good friend Vogel.
Yes, so Avantgarde is a persona ride reliant deck, so you have to play 4. Don't play Grail.
Yeah,
because
don't play
this is an order reliant deck. You can play Grail if you want to, but you do have to be very, very careful on the turn that you play Grail.
Yeah,
and Grail basically has to be the Grail turn basically has to be turn that you win.
Okay.
Otherwise you're completely bricked out for the entire rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be warned.
And then we have Vogel. So Vogel is a card that came with Avantgarde together in set 9, and he's generally just a very, very efficient consistency card for a deck that desperately needs some consistency, because this deck doesn't have that much plusing. It's mainly just about a lot of net zeros and a lot of just beating and a lot of aggression and minusing your opponent cards from hand.
Yep.
Rather than it itself plusing. So it's when placed Counter +1, Soul +1, you search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 order card and set order and add it to your hand. So it's generic technically, but no deck has space for it except Avantgarde. So generally you just play
And
Avantgarde.
because Death Winds is part of your win con, you might as well search it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might as well just search it.
Might as well just search it.
Then his second skill is that once per turn, when you play a set order, he gains 5k.
So it's when it's activated. It does not mean if you use Avantgarde skill to move to the soul. No.
Yes.
It has to be
It's
specifically when you play it.
Yes.
So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yes.
Moving on to our grade 2s. Our grade 2, we play 1 copy of Finanis in the mid deck, in the right deck. And then of course we play 3 copies of this guy, 3 copies of Fry Heights. Yep, we still managed to play Fry Heights, and then 4 copies of Allah.
So yeah, that's pretty much about it for this one. Okay, so let's
So
break it
we'll
down.
go through the Fire Heights. So Fire Heights is still in this deck mainly because it's a personal reliant deck. But generally with the way that this deck wants to play in set 10, there's actually really not much need to play Fire Heights anymore.
Yeah,
you do actually cycle through this deck very, very quickly, that you will naturally see personal right like any other D deck.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, with the amount of pressure that this deck has, you don't always need to rely on personal right to win. You actually can survive just on Avantgarde vanilla, just swing without personal riding. It's enough pressure that your opponent has to perfect guard.
Especially the master decks. The master decks actually will.
Yeah, because
will be
a lot of decks in this format, either they need a lot of counter blast, or they generally do not have enough hand to survive Avantgarde if they don't specifically search for perfect guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Fire Heights is definitely not necessary in this deck anymore like it was in set 9.
Yeah.
But if you can afford Fire Heights, it's a
good idea too.
good idea to get him, because he will accelerate this deck's game plan and generally help you win a lot faster.
I mean, I've seen from both Avantgarda videos that I can't afford Fry Heights, or I don't care about Fry Heights. In set 10, congrats, you've reached a stage where you're right, but we are playing it just for security's sake. You don't want to be playing at any form of competitive event and then just be like, oh, I can't search my win con, I lose. Like you don't want that. So please play Fry Heights if you can, but if you can't, know that from set 10 onwards, it's fine. And since this is my last Avantgarda video, I might as well just say, guys, if you can't afford a staple, then just find a substitute, please.
Yes. And speaking of substitutes, we have probably one of the best things that
you forgot cover.
it probably has one of the best. Oh yeah, this is it's the grade 2 on the right line.
One grade to the right.
Yes. So Bushido actually did something really good in set 10 for Avantgarde. Whereas rather than they just give us a promo and they say, oh, suck it if you can't afford it. They gave us a replacement in the exact same set that the promo came out together with, which is Blue Dexter Reku Geneva.
You want me to read it?
It's actually has Geneva in his name.
Reku Geneva?
Yes.
Yeah, Reku Geneva. Holy shit.
Reku Geneva. So his skill is that when you play a strategy order, he gains 5k. And when your Avantgarde Vanguard, if I'm not wrong,
It's a con skill.
it's a con skill. During your turn, if you have a Vanguard Avantgarde in his name, he gets 5k. And if you play a strategy order this turn, if your strategy card was put from your order zone into your soul, so
Which is every turn.
the strategy card, yeah,
Avantgarde needs to do that every turn.
yes, he gains another 5k.
So it's a 20k beater.
Generally, he just gains 20k on his own, unlike the promo, which needs Avantgarde to swing twice in order to gain 10k.
So not only does this straight up power creep Russia for this deck, it also competes with Allah in this deck.
Yes, it basically is just as many 20k attackers as he possibly can afford in this deck.
That's amazing.
And it's also very importantly, it's a blue Dexter.
Right.
Yes, it's a blue Dexter. It's very important for this deck.
Yeah, the Blue Dexter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna counter.
Yes.
Oh, but that's so cool.
Yes.
I completely forgot
So
about
generally 20k beater is very, very good for this deck. It doesn't have the utility of Command Rusher is that it's always gonna be revivable.
It doesn't have the utility of Allah to search for your strategy orders, but the fact that it's
It's always gonna be a 20k beater.
It's a 30 yen.
So-
it's a 30 yen, 20k attacker.
Yes. And generally in matchups that counter plus denying is not that important. You're
Yeah.
generally better off having 2 of him than having 2 of Allah. Because Allah only will go up to 15k.
If the attack fails.
Yeah, the attack fail, which most likely it will fail because most people don't. If people are willing to take counter blast, they will not let Avantgarde's attack.
And then
go
also if it's on turn 3, if they don't let it hit, he still reaches the highest number.
yes,
he
he
even-
reaches the highest number no matter what.
He even will beat Russia
Yes,
in some cases. So yeah, I would say
I've seen some builds play the Welstra promo, the Doghouse, in order to hit Command Russia's condition, which is very, very convoluted.
that's very cool.
It's very, very
It's really
difficult to hit. But if you
Yeah.
can afford $240 of staples and then also afford a $60 promo, then be
Yeah.
my guess.
Yeah, but I mean if you can't afford it, it's a 30 yen attacker.
Yes.
It's a 30 yen attacker.
Speaking of attackers, we have still probably the strongest Avantgarde support that this deck.
It's a promo, my guy.
Yeah, it's Ala Argento. Ala Argento. So Ala Argento says when your Avantgarde Vanguard attacks, this unit gains 5k until the end of turn. So it's the same as Emmeline with blasters, is that every time your blaster unit attacks, it gains 5. So
I mean
it's
that's
sort
more of
Avantgarde.
that's more of Deathwind's skill built in.
Yes.
Where every time Avantgarde declares an attack, you gain 5. But
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So she
Good
herself will
combination,
gain 5 and she just becomes a very strong beater, either 20k or 30k or 40k if you
Yeah.
use little wins.
I mean, if you think about it as well, it's a lot like Emmeline because of the second skill as well.
Yes. So the second skill is for consistency, which is solves 2 of the biggest problems that this deck had, which is that you have bad rears and you have bad consistency. So the second skill is that when placed, if you put if a strategy card was put from your order zone into your soul this turn, you soul blast 1 and then you search your deck for a strategy card of a different name from the card that was put into the soul, and then you add it to your hand and shuffle your deck.
Yep.
So for illustration purposes, let's say you put the grade 1 strategy order into your soul, you can either search the grade 2, the grade 3 or the grade 2 strategy order.
Yep,
And
that's
vice versa. If you put the grade 2 into soul, you can search either the grade 1, which we can't do because we only play one copy. But mainly you're just here to search for the grade 3
Yeah.
if you played either the grade 2 or the grade 1. So
Which is why Vogel went down.
yes, because she basically just does Vogel's job, but only for Soul Blast. But she does require you to play an inferior strategy order first, which is why if you chose to play Death Winds first in the event that you want to pressure your opponent to guard, then that's why we are playing an extra copy of Bombing Mission so that we can search it out at least, and she doesn't blank the effect.
That's why we have to.
Yes.
That's the whole reason why we have to.
Yes. So overall, it's just a very, very strong consistency boost and as a big attacker, but still not as consistently big as Geneva.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the great ones. We play one copy of this guy. What's his name again?
This is Findanis.
Oh, this is Findanis. Right,
Yes.
I always forget the names.
Okay, then obviously we also play 4 copies of our Perfect Guards. We're playing the set 6 ones, this is a bit more modern. And then we're playing 4 copies of our good new friend, Blue Dester Hanada Halfway. So,
Yes.
grade 1 for the right deck, I won't talk about it much. PGs, I also don't wish to talk about it very much. And I want to talk about Hanada Halfway.
Draw one.
Hanada Halfway
Draw one.
is one of the most stupidest cards
Draw
ever
one.
printed. And
Draw
very
one.
frankly, I want to meet whoever printed this card and I want to talk to you, sincerely. So what does it do? Basically, when placed, if you have a Blue Dester Vanguard, you get to counter blast 1 and draw a card. Yeah, it's counter blast 1 to draw 1. It's... What? It's... Are you kidding me? You gave the deck that doesn't have plus a CB1 +1. Okay?
And do note, because it says Blue Dester Vanguard,
it counts
not
for the whole right line.
not Avantgarda
It
Vanguard.
counts for the whole right line.
Yes.
The whole right line works. So any stage of the game, you drop this guy, just flip 1, draw. That's it. And it gets worse. Because you notice we don't play Megaragao anymore. We don't even play Bomble Mine anymore. Why? Because when he boosts a Vanguard,
If you put a strategy, your strategy order was put into your order zone distance. So all it requires is a
just
strategy
for you to
order
play a strategy
to be
order,
in the order zone, which means that it's live on turn 2.
then you get...
It's live on turn 2.
I mean, technically speaking, you don't even have count loss on turn 1, so it doesn't matter.
No, that's why I said turn
Turn 2, yeah. From turn 2 onwards, if you just call him, you counter charge. As long as he can boost
No, it's
the
if-
center column.
Not just that. When he boosts anything, is when he boosts anything. If you have put a strategy order into your order
but
zone
it's
this
only from the
turn.
center back.
No, it's not. It's not center back. It's for anywhere.
Oh, it's not center back?
Yeah, it's for anywhere. He gains 2k, and he counter charges one.
Wait. Can I just see that? No, the counter charge is center back.
Yeah, the
2K
counter charge is center back. But
the counter
generally,
charge is
you only use one counter.
you
blast.
just need 1.
Yeah, you just need one counter.
Hanada
charge.
Halfway
But
at
the,
the back,
the
center
2k is
It's
even
free.
is honestly even worse because like we said with Geneva, like we said with Argentino, they hit for 20k.
So now you
what?
have a 30k column.
Yes, you have 30k column.
You have a 30k column. Are you
30k
kidding?
column on turn 3.
3.
Yes.
That's insane. And
Or no, and then if you have called cards from the right line out by having the order by already having one of the strategy orders in your hand, or you went to damage, you can just call Hanada Hathaway to the rear circle and you boost, and this is now 18k column.
You
Or
boost
this
that,
is a 20k column.
It's mad. It's complete madness. It shouldn't work.
And
they took the worst grade 1 Brandt Gate, which is the when Boost give your Vanguard 2k. They took Megaragao and they took a draw and they slapped all 3 effects together. So Hanada Halfway is not only a 10k booster, he's a CB1 draw 1 on place, and he's a center back counter charger. I can't. There's a reason why we're not doing Blue Dester videos after this anymore. Okay?
yeah.
There's
And
a
then
reason why.
generally, this is the reason why I said you don't need to play Fire Heights anymore because you have a CB1 draw
You
one
have CB1 draw one.
that replaces his own cost, the meaning that he boosts boosts your center column.
I'm not doing this anymore. Our grade 0s, we play 1 copy of Star Period for right deck, and then of course we play 8 crits because this is a restanding Vanguard deck. You better be playing crits. Okay?
Yes.
You better. We play 4 the counter heal because Avantgarde actually has a serious problem
Serious problem going second.
going second. So
Yes.
and
then also is good against Chronojet, which is still one of his very bad matchups because Avantgarde is a deck that has to ride out to grade 3 in order to win.
Yep, and then of course we play 3 fake draws because this is still a very patronized deck. And then of course our Brandt Gate over trigger, which is our second win condition.
Yes.
Yeah, and that wraps up my Avantgarde video for set 10. And that will be the last Avantgarde video we do on this channel. I'm done. I'm really done. But I'm glad that I'm done, and I hope you guys are happy too. This deck, we followed this deck through 2.5 sets and a lot of yen afterwards, and this deck is already pretty good. This deck has seen very good showings at WGP Singapore from what I've heard. I've seen some clips. I kind of heard that this deck is good.
You also did very well at WGP
I mean,
Yokohama
Yokohama as well, yeah. I think it was fine. I saw some. I think it was pretty good.
Yes. Mainly it's because
Hanada Halfway.
I've seen
piece
deck
of shit.
I've seen deck lists even without this promo. It's still this deck without the promo, without Fry Heights. This deck is still horrifyingly strong.
Just with Hanada.
Just if Hanada Hathaway,
I hate this thing, really.
which have you checked your Yurite pricing recently? I heard this card is very cheap.
Oh, for now.
Yes.
Okay, so you should buy it out then.
Yes.
Yeah, but I wasted way too much yen on this, so I'm done. Okay, this is the last Blue Dester video, but thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, followers. I'm sorry to say that we won't be doing any more Blue Duster content, but we're still doing DBT10 content, so we may be doing more after this. And of course, as you all probably know, I already said that once it comes to May, June, I will be going back to school, so I won't really have much time to do deck profiles after that. So there will be a decrease in terms of how many times I can do deck profiles, but I do intend to still cover like 1 to 2% if I'm fortunate. No, please stop. No, I'm not doing this anymore. No, please. No. Please don't throw something else at me. Please don't throw something else at me. Please, no. Please, is that off? Please, no. I don't want to do variant anymore. Please, stop it.